Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is an adult legend and a legendary figure in the adult entertainment industry, the beautiful Miss Ava Devine. Ava, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Michael. Hello to everyone out there.
Well, first and foremost, I have to say this, and we were just discussing this before we came on air. For me, I think my first ever film seeing your work overall as a young man was probably 2005, 2006. I was in middle school, and I remember seeing My Friend's Hot Mom. I believe it was the scene with yourself, Sexy Vanessa, Christian, that three-way. That was one of my earliest memories of just, like I said, looking at adult entertainment. And for me, again, 13, 14 years old, this is the start of puberty for us young men, so we get to get introduced to a lot of your great work from My Friend's Hot Mom and the Naughty America series. So I got to say, that was my first introduction to you, and I think you've done a lot of great work since. And for me, it's an honor and it's a pleasure and it's a privilege to be talking to you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
You're very welcome. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about how you got into the adult entertainment industry, because you've made your name for yourself for many, many years. How did everything come into fruition for you? Because like I said, as a fan and as someone who's appreciative and respectful towards your work, how'd that call come into fruition for you?
Okay, well, I was a dirty girl when I was very young, and I did it all backwards. I started escorting first at 18, 19. Then I got into stripping when I was like 24, 25. And then I met somebody that introduced me to the porn industry, to my agents at the time when I was 28. So that was in 2003.
Wow. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to say this right now. It is backwards, but I got to say, with life and to go the spiritual route, everybody has their own destination. Everybody has their own way.
Totally.
Yes, but I think that's awesome because you start out stripping, you start doing the escort stuff again, learning and doing what you do, really accentuating yourself for the vibrancy and the overall sexual vibes that you have. Dare I say the voluptuosity factor, and then bada bing, it leads to your career. So I mean, it may be a little backwards, but hey, we all start somewhere, and I think
exactly, and I'm super grateful for how it started out because I loved sex since I was a young girl, since I was like 14, a little bit younger, but I loved it since I was like 14, 15. And I discovered my sexuality and I became very comfortable with my body. So when I started escorting, I was in heaven because I was like, I love getting guys off and I'm getting paid for it. This is like a dream come true. And so I was conditioned. So when I went to do porn, I was like, been there, done that, let's roll. So I wasn't like a brand new kid jumping on the bandwagon and they're saying, okay, you're going to do a gangbang and everyone's going to come in your eyes at 18, fresh 18-year-old. So I was like conditioned. So I started in the game late, but I was very conditioned. So I came in with an open mind, open heart, and open spirit.
See, and that's what I like because I think that's how you have to be in any situation, open-minded, open.
Very true.
And yes. What I like about you, Ava, is I look at it from a stance of, hey, you know what? This is something that I like. I mean, to quote Michael Gott, sex is natural, sex is fun, sex is best when it's one-on-one, the hit of the 80s. We see a lot of that encompass, your sexual being, which is great. And I also look at it from a stance of, I think when we're young, we're exploring our sexual side and we explore what we like. And that's what helps us into the adult game and what we like from the sexual standpoint. And you as yourself, like you said, I mean, to quote Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri, top down, screaming out money ain't a thing. You get the money aspect, you get it from a financial standpoint, but you're also having fun and loving what you're doing. So, I mean, I mean, another thing to mention is, I mean, look at like movies like American Psycho with Christian Bale. I mean, he was one of the ones, if you remember the character, like he's out there getting the escorts. There's the infamous scene with the chainsaw. Horror-esque, you see a lot of that encompassed within movies as well.
Yeah. And the good thing is, too, is like, I've heard a wise man said, you make your business your pleasure, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I feel I've never worked because this is my pleasure.
Exactly. And I think from your stance, and we'll get into your adult career in a second here, but you're starting, and I think a lot of people can realize this, like whether you're doing escorting, whether you're doing stripping, you're having fun with it. And also you have clientele to, pleasure, as you say, it's your pleasure. So it's a lot of things that really are the accoutrements, dare I say, the positives that go into it. I think it makes fun for a lot of people. I mean, where I'm located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, one of the top gentlemen's club is the Dollhouse. Not only do you get great food, but you get the satisfaction of the performances and everything that goes into it. So you have a lot to entail and a lot to entertain when it comes to people in that clientele, you know?
Yes, and I'm very pro sex work. I'm very pro sexuality. It's just a lot of people. Well, I'll speak only for myself. I was very liberated in my sexuality, and I wasn't raised like, oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't be this. Thank God, because I'm very open, and where I can do something and not feel bad about it. I have no regrets or no qualms about who I am. And I'm very comfortable in my own skin. So that's a big bonus.
And I think that's what I also appreciate, because I think a lot of people have to say, dare I say, true blue and stay true to themselves. And I think a lot of people realize it's not just when it comes to the adult entertainment industry, but in life. Like for me, I look at it like we're talking about females and we're talking about everything that has that important figure in your life. Like I was raised by a great mother and a great grandmother, God rest her soul. So my love and appreciation for women came from them. And I also look at it like, everybody does what they do, whether it be in the adult entertainment industry or not. So I'm very open to what women want to do. And if you're happy with it, just God bless and do what you're doing. But you also look at it from the modeling aspect. Because I'll say this right now, I've seen a lot of your photos besides the adult entertainment work. You're a beautiful woman, and we get to accentuate that from an imagery standpoint as well.
Thank you. Yes, I embrace my body, my shape, and I'm one to go up and down in weight. And I've always embraced, I felt that, beauty is skin deep. There's more to me than just the size dress I wear.
Of course. And I think for me too, like as someone who also can, relate to that as my body has fluctuated, I also look at it from a stance of, you look at people in the modeling industry. Like for me, I like plus size modeling. You look at people like Ashley Graham, you look at people like Tyra Banks. Like I love the modeling aspect because we all come in different shapes and sizes. And unfortunately, the day and age that we live in, body shaming is unfortunately a thing. So that's why I can appreciate what you and a lot of the great girls do, because you just are like, here it is, here I am, bada boom, love me, hate me, I don't care, here it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I appreciate. It's confidence.
Yes. But, I had to do a lot of work to get that confidence. I had to do a lot of work, a lot of therapy, and a lot of esteemable acts to get that self-esteem. It didn't come naturally, put it that way.
Oh, I understand. But I think no matter how long it takes for you to build up that confidence and get that esteem, you will be comfortable in your own skin. And that is shown off in your work and how you portray yourself over the years. And I think that's wonderful.
Yes, thank you, my baby.
You're very welcome. Now let's talk about the adult entertainment industry here, because man, like I said, my friend's hot mom was the first thing I ever saw of you. The three-way scene with yourself, Sexy Vanessa, and Christian. I wanted to ask you about my friend's hot mom because a lot of great content, and as a youngster, like I mentioned, 13, 14 years old, it's heaven for a child who's in puberty and starting to do by themselves. So I have to ask you, and then also, like I've joked on when I've had many adult stars on this show, parents leave the room. It's a friggin' hotbed for just a lot of stuff. So anyway, I digress. Let's talk about my friend's hot mom. How did all that come into fruition? Because you've had many great scenes that are encompassed with that site.
Well, actually, the first My Friend's Hot Mom scene I ever did was in 2003 or 2004. When they first started, I met the company. I met the videographer at someone's apartment, and we shot a crazy lunacy scene, and it took me off the charts. It brought me on the charts, and it was so much fun because it's like I was coming into my age and I was embracing it because I was 28, 29, and in porn years, that's pretty mature. So I don't have children, but I was considered a MILF. So I embraced that terminology because I'm like, hey, I'm going to roll with it. I'm like a chameleon. You want me to be whatever, I'll get myself into that zone. I like to play the part that I'm playing. So I was like, okay, great. I'm a mature woman who's seducing my friend's son, my son's friend, and why not? This is, totally up my alley. I got in the headspace of being a mom and seducing my son's friend, and voila, there we go. My friend's hot mom, take one, and it was excellent. And then, they made a series because it got so big at the time, the MILFs. So I kept shooting for them. And then my dearest girlfriend, Sexy Vanessa, and we did an intense scene with, I'm not sure if it was Christian, I think it was somebody else, but we did an intense scene, and it could have been with Christian. You know what? You're right. It was with Christian. I love Christian Triple X. And we just had our way with him. And her and I are very vivacious. So it was like electric dynamo.
Well, I will say this, since you want to talk about vivacious, and this is the perfect time to mention this. I mean, you look at the times in pop culture here. Nelly had the infamous song. I was like, good gracious, ass bodacious, vivacious, man. It's getting hot in here. That's what
it's getting hot in here.
Yes. Well, that's what we saw with the scene. And what I love about it, it's you two. You call them over. You guys got the drinks, and it's very voluptuous. And it's like, my goodness gracious, I got these two beautiful women right here. And then you had your way with him, and that's what made for a great scene. But I also look at it from a stance of, you're talking about the term MILF. And like we've seen that with American Pie, MILF. You know what I'm saying? Stifler's mom, Jennifer Coolidge style. That term is just, for me, like looking at how the scenes are titled, like you represented that very well. And the overall thing with you just being the mom, seducing the son. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, as a young man looking back, I am also, like you said, getting into there 28, 29 years old. I'm 28 years old now. And I look back.
Yummy. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. But no, I also look at it from a stance of like as a 13, 14-year-old looking back and actually just, looking at it from a mindset. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. And then, like I said, seeing that scene with yourself and Sexy Vanessa, this is where I comment on Vanessa. Vanessa's another beautiful woman. I believe she did a solo scene for My Friend's Hot Mom with Trent at the time. But yeah, no, she's another one that's an absolute beauty and is gorgeous like yourself.
Yeah, she's on fire, and she gives me and ambition and motivation because she's like so well put together, and she's a professional, and she's a great gal. So I love her dearly. But it was it's a great thing that MILFs became really popular because being a woman and getting a little bit older or mature, like who says that's not sexy? Like, the stereotype is young and, that it used to be. Now they've switched it and they're like, MILFs are hot, young girls are hot, women are hot, men are hot, it's like everyone's hot. And I love that because it's like, who how do you define sexy? It's like there's so many ways. There's not a stereotype. There's not an age. There's not a body shape. There's not a look, a race. It's sexy. It covers all the spectrums, all the criterias on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It encompasses everything. So it's like BBW, hot as hell. Dilts, gilps, everything hot as hell. It's like, why not? Let's just have fun and have sex. Like, that's the attitude.
Exactly. And I also look at it from a stance. You actually just brought up a great point. Going back to mid-2000s, one of the most popular movies, you look at The 40-Year-Old Virgin, because a lot of people categorize the term MILF with that as well. Because if you remember the premise of the movie, like he's interested in Catherine Keener, right? Then he finds out, her kid has a kid. So she also goes up under the category of GILF, which is awesome. Because, again, there's so many different titles, but there's so many people out there that are unique and everybody has their preferences, and it's just being sexy. And I think that's what's awesome about it, because if you look at Catherine Keener, she's a beautiful woman in that movie. You know what I'm saying? When we just see the whole thing of just around this particular time period, like I remember the first ever, again, man, I'm taking this back here, and I think a lot of people can, go with this site. Girls Hunting Girls was like the first ever pornographic site that I remember seeing as a kid, and the premise was it's these girls are picking up girls like off the streets, and there would be three-way scenes, one-on-one scenes, but it's hot and it's stuff that really encompasses the scene, much as like a My Friend's Hot Mom or My First Sex Teacher, Naughty Office, and yes, people, I know I'm taking these sites. But it's one of those things where it's just every single story is fun, and we get to see people like yourself and Sexy Vanessa, like I mentioned. Like, you've done a lot of great work with that. I mean, there was one scene that you did with Charles that was very, awesome because, the sun was reflecting with the girlfriend, and then here you are seducing his friend. And then I believe there was one with a pool. There was one with yourself and Vanessa Vidal, which I'm going to ask you about in a second. But every single story and every single scene that you did for that really encompasses a lot, and it just shows the overall art form and storytelling with each and every scene that you've done.
Yes, and I believe sex is an art. Like, anyone can bounce up and down on a dick, but it's like, what's going on upstairs? What's going on in the mental aspect of the sexuality? Are you I always tell my clients or my fans, I'll fuck your dick, but I'll fuck your brain as well.
See, I'm going to say this right now. Can we just put that on a T-shirt? Because I'm serious.
Sure.
Like that's just like marketing 101 right there. Like, I'll fuck your brains out. Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's the also thing, too. It's the mental and physical standpoint of, like, overall sexual activity and sexual intercourse. It's like, oh, great. We're doing missionary. We're doing different types of sexual acts. But it's like the mental stability is a big thing that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango.
Yeah. And you want to be stimulated mentally as well, because sex is very mental.
It is. And I think, and from a standpoint of just love and just overall passion that you're doing, whether it be a scene or whether it just be behind closed doors with your partner, significant other, however you want to define it, that's very key in any relationship, I also look at it from a stance of, you look at the reality shows at the time. You got Rock of Love, you got Flavor Love, represented by celebrities, such as Brett Mike, Flavor Flav. But a lot of that is not, like, very stimulant as far as mental stability. It's mostly just, hey, I want to win his love, so bada bing, bada boom, let's have sex. Let me ride it, and instead of just the overall, love and stability of it. Again, encompassed by reality television, but still, I understand what you're saying, and that's why I appreciate love and sex, because that's what makes it worth having,
Yeah, totally. But, like, to be verbal and to understand what's going on in the person's mind is so sexy to me. It's so intriguing, and it's like, that's what makes me come. That's what makes me orgasm, is to articulate what's going on in your mind, what fetishes that you really tap into, what character are we playing, that's sexy and that's orgasmic for me.
Oh, I bet. And I also look at it from your scenes as well. Like, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of dirty talk that comes in it from your end as well as the guy end, whether you're just having a spanking on the ass, whether you're just having your privates licked. It's one of those things where each and everything has an art form, and dare I say, it's the little nuances that really makes up the scene,
Yeah. And people always say, well, guys are so visual. Yes, we are all visual animals, but we're also mental. It's like there's a whole I don't know how to describe it, but like, it's like you take the key and you unlock it and something else opens, and it's like you tap into something, and it's like so what's the word?
Well, it's the inner psyche. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Psyche.
Yes. It's like, what's going on? What is making that dick hard? Talk to me.
Exactly. And I think that actually makes a great scene. I actually remember, here's the funny part about it. Chris Rock was talking stuff about that. You know what I'm saying? Chris Rock did a lot of stand-up where he's talking about, what? If you do what they want you to do, your cum will shoot out like a samurai sword. And that's what I loved about it. It was one of his infamous lines. And I'm like, he's not wrong, because if you're in the sexual position, if you're having the sex and it's going well and you're doing everything that the girl wants to do and you both are in that moment, that's what makes the cum shot. And that's what makes the overall end scene, the money shot of said porn, great. And that's what really encompasses a lot in your films, because it really showcases yours and how you're doing what you're doing, and just the overall, like you said, mental, physical standpoint. But that's what really makes the porn, what makes the scene, just absolutely lit.
Yeah. Sex is a wonderful thing. I'm like getting so excited as we speak.
Well, I also look at it from a stance. That's what's awesome about it too, because like we're gonna talk about Vanessa Vidal now, because I remember as well, because this is around the same time period. She had done some threesomes and one-on-one scenes as well with my friend's hot mom, and then I know you guys did a scene together in a threesome later on. I wanted to ask you about Vanessa Vidal because as another one, like I said, around this time period, I'm seeing people like yourself. I'm seeing people like Miss De Silva. So many people that are encompassed in the scenes with my friend's hot mom, and then here comes Mrs. Vidal over here. Talk about working with Vanessa, because I thought you two always had some great chemistry together.
Well, she's electric. She's hot. She is sexual. She is hungry. She is insatiable. She's fantastic.
And that's, I think, what I love about Vanessa Vidal's work as well. No, and I'm right there with you, because I think the first one I saw of hers was, oh my goodness, I think like we're talking about you, it's very equal. And so it kind of equates to what I'm going with this. Because there was the threesome that she did on that side around the same time. I'm like, God dang, just her voluptuosity and just everything that encompasses her. And then I'm like, I'll be honest, as a kid, I'm like, all right, man, I want to see what Ava Devine and Vanessa Vidal do. And then, all right, no, I'm saying it piques the interest as a young teenager, and then bada bing, bada boom years later. And I'm like, okay. And it didn't
love it.
Yes.
I love it. You know what I love? Hearing your pubescent talk excites me, because I love corrupting the minds of the youth and turning boys into men.
Oh, well, thank you. And by the way, that's just not a friggin' New Edition song, Boys to Men. God.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm like so digging it. But yeah. I mean, it's so important to have chemistry with your partner, and in scenes, like for me, when my agent would say, okay, Ava, you have a scene, I'm just like, tell me the time, tell me what I need to bring, and tell me if it's anal. I don't care, because I got to prepare, I was like, I don't care who I'm working with, because I want it to be a surprise, because like I want to go to the set and be like, surprise, this is who you're fucking today. Yay. So it's like, just tell me if I have to prepare for anal, what I need to bring, and what time I got to show up.
That was actually going to be my follow-up. You actually just segued very well, because with porn and everything that goes with the adult entertainment industry, I got to ask you, because you're talking about anal. There's so many different, scenes of different things, whether it be one-on-one, whether it be anal, whether it be the point of view, what have you. Is there any particular, like, sexual, I guess I'll say, activity that really stands out? Is it anal, or are you just down for anything?
I'm down for everything, but I do love anal. I love it. Like, I can come from getting my ass fucked.
Okay. And that's actually, no, I look at it from a stance as this is where we also dive into, just different scenes as well, because there's a lot of popular things, whether it be in like fetish work, because a lot of guys like fetishes, whether it be foot fetishes, a different kind of fetishes, body worship, so to speak. But in this particular case, I have to say this, what's interesting that I've always found, and this is as a kid, whether you're reading articles or whether you're listening to interviews or podcasts as you get older, there are some people that when you ask them that type of question, this is why I was curious with you, because I could tell you're very fun, you're very vibrant, which showcases, again, through your work and overall as a human being, there's some people that are like, yay or nay to anal, and then there are some people that are just like, you know what, I'm just going to do it traditionally, let me have sex, let me get fucked, bada bing, bada boom, here we are. But I like to also ask that question because it's very interesting just to see, because there have been people that have debated upon the anal thing. But I could see that's awesome, though, that because I know you've done a lot of anal scenes as well, and the deep penetrations. It really fits.
Yes. Well, I've learned about anal because my 15-year-old boyfriend, when I was 15 at the time, he would always say, you know what? I want to be in every part of you. Hold on.
We're discussing the fact of, apologies there, a little technical difficulty, but we're
sorry, that was my fault.
And no worries, Ava, it's okay. But we were discussing the fact that your 15-year-old boyfriend wanted to be in every part of you, and this was a real anal. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, he wasn't 15; he was older, but I was 15.
Oh, you were 15.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I messed up in the beginning, but he explained he wanted to be in every part of me. Like we're a couple, we need to venture each other's bodies. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give up my bunghole. And it hurt like hell, but for some reason I enjoyed it. And I kept telling myself, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. I want to get to be perfect with my asshole. And I kept seeing guys, other guys, because I was a serial cheater, and I would fuck other guys and I would make them fuck me in the ass. I would just like force them to fuck me in the ass because I wanted to get really good at it. And next thing you know, fast forward to a few years, I'm adoring anal. I'm like, oh my God, my asshole's so stretchy and fun. And I just kept on doing it, and I absolutely loved it, and I enjoyed it. It's just I have to prep for it. That's the only kind of downside. But once I'm prepped, it's like, it's a party. Everyone jump in.
So pretty much what you just described is, and I don't mean to make this comedic, but you're saying it's like boot camp for the booty, if you will.
Yes, totally. It's like you really have to practice at it. It's not like, once in a blue moon type deal to enjoy it. You got to really practice.
Well, first and foremost, practice did make perfect because it has led to a lot of great anal scenes with yourself. And I look at it from a standpoint.
Yes.
Well, I look at it from a stance of too, like you're talking about like your 15-year-old self, like again around health class at this time. And here's what made me laugh, because as a junior, like I said, like in junior high school, like my health teacher, Mrs. Gray, lovely woman. I got to say this right now. Well, no, I look at it from a stance of 7th grade. I had her class, but what was so funny is like we learn in health class, we learn the basics, we learn the CPR, we get to learn about sex. Hell, we watched the sexual harassment video in 7th grade health class, and I remember that to this day because where it was represented was they were in West Virginia, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go that route. We're gonna watch sexual harassment in West Virginia. All right, understand, but still, you're trying not to laugh as a 13-year-old because of the accents, but I understand it. I digress. But one of the things that made me laugh about my teacher, Mrs. Gray, and what me and my buddy Keith, God rest his soul, we would always talk about when we were going to lunch period, was like, man, the emphasis, because when we were talking about the penis goes in the vagina, the woman had the emphasis on the word penis. And I'm like, okay, Mrs. Gray, hey, emphasis on the penis when we're in health class. I see where this is going. All right. But yes, that was one of my earliest health class memories. Since we were talking about pubescent as well, the 13-year-old Michael Larkin remembers his health teacher, Mrs. Gray, middle school, just, emphasis on the penis, which, I mean, hey, you know what I'm saying? You're in the right field. You're talking about health class. You're talking about penis. There it is.
That's right. Did you get aroused?
I'll be honest with you. As a young one, she was not bad. She was not a bad look. Hey, it happens. You gotta
love Mrs. Gray, your first sex teacher. We could have made a movie about that.
There you go. Hey, man. Well, we've seen That's My Boy with Adam Sandler and Donnie Berger having sex with his teacher, getting her pregnant. Susan Sarandon. Hello. We've seen that years later.
No, I don't know that, but
you've never seen it? Okay.
Hilarious.
You have to watch it. Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live's in it. Oh, it's hilarious. It's one of Adam Sandler's very funny movies later on in his career. It's actually
I love it. All right, good. Let me know.
All right. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Well, I'll be honest, when I was older, like in high school, one of my favorite ones, I'll be honest with you, and I've talked about it in my past shows, Miss Carpenito was my, oh my goodness, chemistry teacher when I was in senior year, right? She used to wear dresses. She had like a rose tattooed on her ankle. Oh my goodness. That was high school for me, and that was one of my favorite classes my senior year because I couldn't wait to go to Mrs. Carpenito's class because, mind you, she was a great teacher. God dang, it didn't help that it helps that she was fine. So, hey, anyway, I digress. We're going back. That's taking me back. You want to talk about
Love it.
Yes.
Look what I'm doing to you, Michael.
Hey, it happens. You know what I'm saying?
It happens, baby. Like I said, I'm fucking your mind, your memories.
It does. It happens. But yes. Anyway, getting back to you, Miss Lovely Ava Devine, we'll talk about, because we talked about My Friend's Hot Mom, and I think one of the interesting scenes that I remember, there was one that you did with Alan. There was one by the pool. Like, each and every one had a story to it, because whether you're in the house or what have you, there was one by the pool that was actually very good that I do remember, because you seduced them by the pool and actually made for a great scene.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that scene very well. It was it was a nice day. I was getting my makeup done, and then they were like, okay, you're going to do a scene in the pool. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get my makeup wet and make a mess. But then I was like, who the fuck cares? I'm here for a good time.
There you go. First and foremost, you see, I like that because it just also showcases your appearance. Like, you know what? Hey, I'm looking good, but I don't want to mess anything up. But at the same time, you're getting good from the other aspect of the technical point. So, hey, it weighs out. It's a nice little balance that goes into the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I love.
Am I not a mess? then I'm pissed. If I don't look a mess after sex, I'm pissed.
All right. Well, I got to say that's very committed because, I mean, sex, like I said, when you're doing that and you're also, what I also have to encompass about that scene, I think what was great about it too is because I think a lot of guys also have that fantasy of just by the pool, you know what I'm saying? Just have that. There's something about, also I will say this because a lot of films have it, there's something about getting, you know, I'll say it, fucked outdoors that is just like that arousement among guys too because you're out in the public, you know, public fucking.
Yeah. Love that.
And that's, I think, what helps, too, because, I mean, there's so much to explore. And, I mean, it's great because everybody talks about, you know, indoors. You got the bathroom, you got the shower, you got the bedroom. But there's just something that really equates to just having sex in the outdoors. I guess one with nature, just the fact that it's the scenery that really, you know, plays into the, I guess, overall arousement from the guy's standpoint and the female standpoint.
Yes, definitely. It's that sneak factor
of
getting caught.
And it's funny, too, because, like, again, bringing back memories, since you want to corrupt minds and fuck minds here, Miss Ava Devine, one of my scenes of actually seeing that was, again, goes back to my Friends Hot Mom people. Lisa Lips actually did a scene that was very outdoors for my Friends Hot Mom, and I'm like, all right, this is very cool. So the scene was, you know, she has her come over and clean, what have you, and then here we are outdoors, bada bing, bada boom, and I'm just like, all right, this is different, but I like it, you know what I'm saying? Because you're just so used to in your mind seeing, you know, okay, here's the bedroom, here's the intimate setting. But I'm just like, okay, this is different. I'm intrigued. You're hooked me. You hooked me.
I love it. You're bringing back all these old school names. I love it.
Hey, I was appreciator. I'll be honest with you. As a kid, I was a fan of pop culture, as you can tell, music, and put some wrestling on and put some porn. I mean, it's a nice little mix, I guess. I was a unique child. But hey.
That's right. I love it.
All right. Now, going back to it as well, I've also seen you do a lot of work, and this is another one I will say. The name Vanity, a beautiful, beautiful human being, I got to say, because, I mean, you've had sex with a lot of people from the transsexual side of things, the female side of things, which, again, makes for great scenes, and there's a lot of great stars in that particular genre as well. I wanted to ask you about Vanity, because there's another one that you have chemistry with. You have chemistry with a lot, but I've seen the work that you've done with Vanity, and she's another one that really stands out.
Vanity is amazing. Not only is she gorgeous and beautiful, and I always say my she-males, they have to be 4H. Hard, hung, horny, and hot. And she made it. She made the 4H club. And she's just a wonderful woman. She's just a wonderful person. I love her personality. We have hot chemistry. I remember shooting for our websites one day, and she was like, she did a scene earlier, and she came, and then we were going to shoot, and I was like, girl, you sure you're okay? And she's like, oh, baby, I am horny. And she blew a big load again. I'm like, damn, 2 pops in the matter of an hour? You're amazing. And it was a big load.
Well, I will say I have seen this particular scene. There's one, I think what's also cool about the scene is too, like you start off, it's like you're sitting at the table. There's like, okay, let's have some coffee. I'm like, oh, let's have some sex on the side with it. You know what I'm saying? And then it leads to the great scene that it was. And the overall money shot, the cum shot at the end. And that's, I think, what also that I enjoyed about it, because it's just like, all right, you got 2 people here that love each other, care about each other, and they're really looking to encompass and really go into said scene. And it worked. And it was a nice balance.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vanity.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. And first of all, that's commitment right there. You know what I'm saying? Just 2 pops, 2 cum shots. And she's
within an hour, not even an hour.
That's commitment. And that's just after all this. You got to also appreciate the sex drive on that front.
Yes. That's what I love. She's like, girl, I am so horny. I'm like, let's do the damn thing.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not even like a question. It's just like, okay, here we go. It's like with the snap of a finger, you're creating sexual magic.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes, totally.
Oh, my goodness. And another thing I got to mention about you, too, is what's great about scenes, and I'll say this right now, because we were talking about teachers and stuff, you know, Miss Carpenino. I'm taking it back to my high school and junior high school.
That's right, baby. Bring back those memories.
Thank you. Now, one of the things I got to mention as teachers-wise, now I've seen you do some work as well from the teacher front, whether it be like a Big Tits at School or whether it be just, I know you did a scene with Alex that really stands out, again, in my memory that I remember as a high school kid, I will say this. But it's one of those things where the teacher aspect, that's every guy's fantasy as well, because I could take this as a kid growing up in the 90s. one of the most iconic videos. You look from the pop genre, you got Britney Spears in the schoolgirl outfit, "Hit Me Baby One More Time." Like, there's just something about, school teachers, school girls that really encompass and really attract and, I'll say arouse men. And I think you encompass in those scenes as well, whether you're being the naughty teacher.
Yes, love those. Love those. I love the naughty school girl. I love the naughty teacher. I love the naughty students. I love it all. I love role playing.
And that's what's great. And I think what I also appreciate about it, too, is not just the role play factor, because, it also spices things up in the bedroom for guys outside.
Yes.
And that's what I love. And I'll be honest with you, what's also very unique about us guys, and this is how we think, there are some guys, when they're having sex with their partner and they're having intercourse, that want to watch said porn while they're, having sex. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys I can say who can attest to this, who listen to this, have probably looked at your pornos while they're also having sex as well, because guys do that from time to time.
Yeah, and I'm honored. I'm very honored if a couple can bring me in the bedroom with them and it's a safe place.
It is. And I think what's great about it, too, is, it's quality. And I'll say this right now, and I know this is another word I'll say in regards to the utmost sincere respect to you, Ava. There's a lot of quality in your work, and it's great quality.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. That deserves a blowjob.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay, going back to the teacher for a second, I got to say this. What I did also like about the scene, I'll mention the one with Alex. So it starts off, y'all are just sitting there. You're being the teacher that you are. And he's like, I do what I want, when I want. And this gentleman I actually remember seeing, because, again, we're taking it back to my friend's hot mom. He had done a scene with Bethany Sweet, who was one of the girls that I remember seeing on my friend's hot mom. It was a very raw and passionate scene. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, okay, she's missing the son. And then, okay, here comes the son's friend. And then, okay, let's have sex on the couch. Boom. It was straight to the point, and I loved it, but it was a very passionate scene. And then I see the scene with you, and he has that cocky, braggadocious attitude, and then sometimes the teacher's got to take him down a peg. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, and that's what made the scene, and I believe there's also sex up against the window. And I'm going to say this right now because there's certain things, again, also from the male point of view, whether you're having sex by a window or sex, by a door, what have you, there's something about objects or furniture in a room where it's just like, okay, I could get caught any minute, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're out the window. Just showcase it. Let it all hang out. You know what I'm saying? Let it all hang out.
Yes. Big factor again.
Yep. It's the sneak factor. It is. But that's, again, what really, entices and what's so fun about these sexual scenes that we've seen. Like, again, my friend's hot mom, they did a scene with Mrs. Wilde where she's just in the hotel room. And, okay, here he is, giving her doggy by the window. And I'm like, all right. Again, as a teen, you're just seeing the normal encompass thing of just the overall furniture in the room. I'm like, okay, we're going to try something different. We're going to have sex out the window. Who cares if they see us? What have you? The sneak factor. And I'm like, okay, this is different. This piques my interest, Hey.
Yeah. Definitely. I get it.
So, yes. But even though we're talking about our pervy sides here, I think what I've also appreciated about the adult entertainment industry, and this is why I love what I do with this podcast and giving people the platform to tell their stories, there's so many great people in the industry that do a lot of great work and great things. And I include you in those sentiments. But I also look at it from a stance of, God dang, man, like, you've been doing your thing since, like, we talked about 03 and talk about where you are now. I got to say, what do you think about this new crop that are coming in? Because there's so many great talents to work with and see come through the industry, whether it be from the modeling aspect or what have you. And we've seen a lot of cam models get into it. How do you think the evolution of the adult entertainment industry has been since you started paving your way into said industry, Ava?
Well, I love it because there's no body shaming nowadays. And when I started, it was that they would focus on then it became more of the curvaceous, big butts, big boobs. It was big boobs were still a thing back in the 90s and 2000s, but today, I'll fast forward to today's times, there's no body shaming. They want everyone, they like every shape, size of women or men that there is now. So that's what I'm loving, that it evolved into all shapes and sizes are welcomed. And like Brazzers, they have some BBWs, they have skinny, big, medium, and that's what I love now, is that there's no standard body type. It's all welcomed, and I like that a lot, because not everyone can be a stick figure. Not everyone can be big ass, big tits. Not everybody has, huge ass or small boobs or whatever the case is, or natural boobs. But now everything is welcome. So I like that a lot.
First and foremost, beautifully said. I mean, I'm going to be honest, that's words of wisdom right there, because it's also very true. And I look at it from a stance of, again, this is my nerdness coming out, look at it from a wrestling standpoint, because I remember as a kid, when you look at the females that we've seen in professional wrestling, like a lot of those girls, a lot of people don't realize, like when they were hired from talent relations in the WWE, a lot of those girls were models, and they came from modeling categories. And they didn't have a lot of wrestling experience, but they learned. But this is what we would see, just the model type. You know what I'm saying? But what I also like about it is fast forward to today. I mean, Nia Jax, who's in the WWE, the cousin of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, she's a very curvy woman. She was a plus-size model doing her thing, and she's absolutely gorgeous. And I'll be honest, going back to BBWs for a second, I think for me, and this is taking me back to my, start of my growth, like 18, 19 years old. I mean, I'm 28 now, so take it back to 10 years ago. Like when I was growing up, like, you know what I'm saying, as a fresh out of high school and getting into the work field, I remember when I was young, like a lot of girls that were curvy or fall under the BBW category were interested in me. Now me, I'm just like, okay, cool. Let's see if we have chemistry. Let's go out. Let's do the damn thing.
Yeah.
But what's great about it is, I didn't necessarily look at like, oh, okay, like they're a big girl. I'm like, no, they're beautiful, work of art. Look at it from an internal, external standpoint. You get to know awesome people and see if you have chemistry, And that's what I've argued with my buddy over the years. And I got to be honest with you people, I love my best friend. But the problem with it is sometimes your friends say stupid shit and you just got to keep them in check, because it does happen, and you just got to try to pick them up a little bit. Like he was just like, he didn't understand why I like that type of stuff. I'm like, what's wrong with it? A lot of guys like curves. There's nothing wrong with having curves. There's a lot of every woman is beautiful, and I include you in these sentiments, Ava.
Thank you.
Every woman's beautiful. You're welcome. Every woman's beautiful. Everybody has a different size, shape, but god dang, there's just something about big girls and the curviness, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's something that really attracts to one. So, I mean, everybody has their own different tastes, you know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be shaming people. Everybody's got their preferences. They're all unique.
Yeah. And like, because I can speak from my experience, I've been turned down by certain companies because I wasn't thin enough. And today I feel like that's not the case. And I think that's great, because beauty is not size 0. Beauty is size 0, but it's also size 15 or 22. It doesn't really matter anymore. I feel like it doesn't matter. Sexy.
And that's the thing too. I had a Laura Jensen on this show, and I'm just like, god dang, you look at girls like a Laura Jensen, she's absolutely fine as wine.
Yeah, love her.
See, I mean, and it's one of those things where, like, you look at people like her, and another one that you have chemistry with and who I've always loved was Sarah J.
Love her. She brought big butts in. I always tell her, I go, girl, you created the companies that wanted big butts and accepted it.
Okay, now this is also taking me back. See, again, the corrupting of minds. I'm going to say this right now. No, from my earliest scene of looking at Sarah J and knowing all the names, like yourself and people in the adult entertainment industry as a young man, one of my earliest scenes remembering Sarah J, she did a scene for, and I know she's done, I believe, another one for My First Sex Teacher. This is the one where she's in the shower, she's coming over to the guy, and she's in the shower just washing right in front of him, and again, piques the interest. And it's one of the most incredible passion scenes with an incredible ending from a fellatio standpoint. And then there's the money shot. Like, that was my earliest memory of Sarah J was, oh my God, here's this hot girl woman taking a shower, then seducing the student, and it makes for a great film.
Yes, I love Sarah. She's my dearest friend.
And she's another one, again, like yourself, who are just like timeless, whether y'all are together or just doing your respective scenes. Beauty. Love it.
Yeah. Because she loves what she does. She's passionate about it.
And that's what I love. And I look at people like, you look from the 80s to where she's now. You look at people like Nina Hartley, who's very passionate about what she does in the entertainment industry. And I mean, we've had the same thing on, yes, thank you. And we've seen people like Ginger Lynn, who I've also on here. I mean, from the 80s to the 90s and their evolution. My goodness, Rebecca Bardot is another name that sticks out to me. You just see a lot of great figures like that are just timeless in the adult entertainment industry, whether it be their scenes from X amount of years ago or rather till now. There's that overall factor that is just like, that really encompasses their scenes and their overall beauty, you know?
God, Michael, you just appreciate us ladies. I love it.
I try. I mean, that's the thing.
I think you're a cougar chaser.
Hey, I got no issues with that. Yeah, well, I'll put this one out.
But you love it all.
I do.
Yeah. So do I. So do I.
I'll be honest. When I was 19 years old, one of the girls that I still talk to this day, we became friends. But one of the girls that I talked to this day, she was like 26 at the time, and I was like 19. I'm like, okay, here it is. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, you know what it is too. And I think what I've also appreciated, because we were talking about be true to thyself. I was just myself. You know what I'm saying? If you like me, great. If you don't, you don't. But, you know, it's very just poignant just to be yourself over the years and just say, fuck what everybody else says, you know?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, my goodness. But yes, I have to say this, with your career, as illustrious as it is, and what you're doing now, first and foremost, let's talk about your website here, because avadevine.com, you're doing the thing. I love your website as well. You encompass a lot with your website.
Thank you. Well, now I'm really focusing on my onlyfans.com/avadevine. Mm-hmm. I'm really interacting with my fans today. I'm doing some scenes for the latest and greatest stuff. I'm currently active, and I just love it. So I'm really appreciative of OnlyFans and all my members.
Was actually going to be my follow-up, and once more, great segue. We've seen a lot of sites like OnlyFans and many vids that are out there today. OnlyFans is another one that I really appreciate, because it doesn't always have to be like, you know, about sex, which is great because it's just
totally. You're totally correct. Yeah.
Well, what's awesome about it, I appreciate, because, you know, you have uniqueness. There's just like, okay, I'm going to look sexy here. There'll be some sex over here, but there's a lot of different variety with that. I mean, you could just do just being naked or what have you, but it's great because it provides a variety for a lot of people. And that's what I really like about OnlyFans.
Yes, that's what I love too. I mean, my fans are like begging me, can I just see you without makeup? It's amazing. I'm like, they just want to get to know me. You know, and that's beautiful, because it's like, they're like, there's more to you than just, you know, sex. And I love that, because I can really, you know, the older I get, it's like I become so dimensional that it's like it's like, I want to talk about how's your day going and how mine's going, and, you know, how's work, what's going on with work, and all these other great things. And it's just a great way to connect with all my fans on every level. Sometimes it's straight up filth. Sometimes it's just, how's work today? How's your feelings? You know, what's going on? And sometimes it's like, can I see you without makeup? And sometimes it's like, I want to see you dolled up with a huge dildo up your ass. You know, it's like all different ways that they can get to know me.
First of all, I love the casualness of that. And here's what I mean, what you said. It's just like, oh, how's your day going? And by the way, would you please stick a dildo up your ass? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to make this funny. But that's what's great about it, because, like, again, we also go from a standpoint of, okay, let's get to know her. You know, and I love that. Women without makeup, please. I'm all about it, too. But you also got to realize it's like, at the end of the day, they're people, and they just want to talk to you, know you. Like, I'll be honest with you, as we look at people like yourself in the adult entertainment industry and us as people, it's just like, okay, here she is over here, just, you know, riding it. But no, here it is where we could just like talk and get to know the person. And I love that, because that's also what's great about OnlyFans, because it doesn't always have to be, okay, let's stick the dildo up the ass. Oh, okay, let's put it over here, do it over there. It's a great place for people to get to know you, which is awesome. And I think that's great that you brought up the makeup thing, because there's a lot of beautiful women out there that don't need makeup, don't need too much, and that's what I love about it, because you get to know everybody.
Yeah, and they're like, I want to see what you're cooking for breakfast. You know, it's like little things like that. It's like, wow, that's amazing. That's like, that touches my heart, because it's like, you're that interested, which I'm honored that they're my fan in the first place, but to be that interested to see what I'm preparing for breakfast is amazing. Or you want me to talk about draining your balls, whichever, or both, you know, whatever the case may be. It's just that it's an honor to know that you want to know more about me.
Well, you also brought up a great point of that pop culture side coming out here. Rest in peace to Nate Dogg, and you even lick my balls. Ain't no fun if the homies can't have none, but I digress. Yeah. So, okay, when you're talking about that, you know, sometimes, you know, hey, you're going to drain my balls. But it's one of those things where I look at it from a standpoint, I think what's great about you is, like, you're talking about that with OnlyFans, which we mentioned. But what's also very cool about it is, too, we have this interaction. And what's great about this generation is, and I'll say this right now, as a kid growing up in the 90s, there are some people that are not familiar with your work. And then when we get to people in the 2000s, or now, you get to usher in this new generation of, oh, here I am. You know what I'm saying? There's something for everybody.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, I think girls like Vanessa Vidal and Lisa Lips, and like we kind of laid down the foundation for the up and coming starlets. It's like we kind of cleared out the path so they can, become up and coming and do adult entertainment. Like I think we kind of groomed it for them.
Oh,
does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and I will tell you why. Again, going back to my younger days as 15-year-old and 13-year-old and all around the teenage, it's one of those things where before we had sites like X Videos and X Hamster and all these sites where we see full films of like My Friend's Hot Mom and stuff. Like I still remember as a kid, like, the trailer when your vid would pop up, like, boom, here's like the first 30 seconds a minute. Subscribe to My First Sex Teacher.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, as a kid, 13 years old, my parents would kill me. So that's why I'm like, I'll take the sample. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to like look at the bill, you know what I'm saying? And then, oh, here's the pay-per-view bill of like, oh, here's breasts and ass and whatever it is, the title of set forth that's on pay-per-view, because you don't want to get caught. But I mean, it's one of those things where we had that like sample as kids, where we get to see like, hey, you want to go onto this site, you want to not. So we also got that nice little sample. We got that little appetizer, if you will. But then years later, we've seen X Videos and X Hamster. It's like, okay, here's some premium content for the people. Let me watch some Ava Devine. Let me watch this. Let me watch that. It's just great to see the amazing amount of growth with, streaming and just tubes and the overall thing that goes with the videos of pornography.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, it's kind of like we lay down the
foundation.
Yes, that's it. So everyone can, history repeats itself. So it's like, us 90s, 2000 actresses are like, okay, so this is how it's done. And, we're always helpful to the newer girls, of course. And it's not much different, but it is, it's like now we have OnlyFans, ManyVids, and all that, but it's still the same thing. We shoot for companies, we shoot for ourselves, we shoot and have fun with it, and we get tested, and everything's safe and fun, and so it's like it's not much different, but it is.
Oh, agreed. And I think also testing is very important, especially what we got going on nowadays and just in general. But I also look at it from a stance of just going back quickly to the sample part. I mean, I'll be honest with you. One of your films I remember, and this is another one we got to talk about, you did a scene with Sergio. And I'm going to say this right now. I remember when that actually came out because, again, youngin' just searching through the interwebs, if you will, corrupting the minds. Hello. We've been through this show period. But it's one of the things it's like a minute trailer. And I'm like, because it's like you want more as a kid, you know what I'm saying? So it's
those are just teasers.
It is, but still, it makes you want more, and I think that's what I appreciated back in the day,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And now I'm going to say this to you right now. I actually have a couple of final questions, Miss Ava Devine. First and foremost, I'm going to say this right now. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute privilege. The Overture's here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, Michael. I will.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, final words I'm going to say, because as someone who's a veteran and as someone who is very experienced and someone who has just done a lot of great work in the adult entertainment industry, the adult field, do you have any advice for any of the up-and-comers coming up? And because being with your legendary status, I want to know if there's any pearls of wisdom, if you will, that you want to bestow upon the up-and-comers in the industry.
Pearls of wisdom. I would say speak up if you're not comfortable, and set healthy boundaries and enjoy and have fun. That's my words of wisdom. Oh, and also you got to give head to get ahead.
Beautifully said. And once again, put that on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt.
Of course.
Oh my goodness. Miss Ava Devine, this is where I step back. Ladies first, it's not just a Queen Latifah song. Please promote Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever people can find you on social media, your OnlyFans, your website. The floor is yours. Please go right ahead.
Okay, sure. Instagram is theava_Devine. Twitter is @1AvaDevine. And my OnlyFans is onlyfans.com/AvaDevine. So please join me, follow me, talk to me. I love you guys. I am honored to be here. Each and every one of you. If it weren't for you, I'd be sucking dick in an adult bookstore, being bored out of my mind. So thank you for all my fans and the love and support you guys share.
And also, let's just cut to the chase here, Miss Ava Devine. 1, Ava Devine, because you're number 1. 2 is not a winner. 3, nobody remembers. Taking it back to Nelly training day. Let's see what you did there. You're number 1. All right.
All right, my baby. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, people, for Ava Devine, my name is Mike Larkin. This concludes another edition of On the Mic with Mike, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much, Ava.
Mwah. Bye, baby.